Hello and welcome everybody to the Twins Off Daily podcast, brought to you by twinsdaily.com, the finest source for independent Twins coverage on the entire internet. How the heck are you, Twins territory? It's been a week. It's been a week for everybody. Tensions are high right now with this Twins team, but we are feeling pretty mellow over here on the Twins Off Daily podcast, and we hope that we can kind of kind of squash some of this beef that we're seeing on Twins Twitter currently. I'm gathered here today with three of Twins Daily's finest. Let's start with Mr. Greg Masterson. What's up, buddy?
Today, I consider myself the unluckiest fan on the face of the earth. I don't know about mellow. I'm not feeling mellow today, Lou.
Yeah. That's fine. We like you fired up anyway. That's kind of you're the can of soda that we like to just like shake up a bunch and see what happens. So
it's pop.
Also, it is pop. Okay, Mr. Not from Minnesota. We are also gathered here today with Mr. Cody Schoenman. What's going on, Cody?
This is rock bottom, I think, for this season. But, I am a Twins defender, so I will only look for the positives. The poll ads are definitely not paying me to talk well about them. So, I'm here to defend the Twins, so I will only be positive.
Hey. It is rock bottom so far. Just wait. We just got to hold on for a little bit here. Our special guest today is a returning member of the Twins Daily writing staff, and that is one of the owners himself, Mr. Nick Nelson. What's up, Nick?
How's it going, guys? It's a pleasure to be here. The vibes are immaculate.
Yeah.
They are immaculate.
Speaking of immaculate, later on we will have one of everybody's favorite segments here in the Immaculate Gregg, but we will save that for a little later. Right now, why don't we jump in and introduce our walk-off question that we're going to try to answer by the end of the episode, and that is, what Minnesota State Fair food or drink would you like to see sold at Target Field? I've always thought that they were missing an opportunity to sell some of their heavy hitters at Target Field. I think, they have that State Fair stand that honestly is the pork chop on the stick, and that's pretty much it. So I think it'd be fun to think of some things from the Minnesota State Fair since we are in that season. So start thinking of that, and at the end of the episode, we'll see what we came up with. But for right now, let's jump into our rapid recap since our last episode. Yes. Well, our last episode was last Thursday, and since then, the Twins unfortunately went 1-2 against the St. Louis Cardinals. And full disclosure, we are recording this on Wednesday night. The Twins game, the last game of the 3-game set against the Braves, is still going on. The Twins.
It's over.
It's over. It's Jover. It's Jover.
It's Jover.
Oh, unbelievable. Okay. Well, so they went 1-2 against the St. Louis Cardinals and unfortunately got swept by the Atlanta Braves. What is that, like 2 times in the last 4 years that the Braves have come to town and swept the Minnesota Twins when they're in the heat of things in August? I want to say that's right. I'm just going to assume I'm right on that. But let's talk about it. Over this last week, who's hot, who's not, who's caught our eye? Let's start with you, Greg. What are some of your initial takeaways from the last couple of series?
I don't know. This might be like the worst string of games I've ever seen out of a Twins bullpen. I'm struggling to think of another time that it's looked this bleak to the extent where it really doesn't matter who they bring in. I think the automatic assumption, especially for most fans, is just like, okay, well, this isn't going to last long. Whatever, they came into the 7th yesterday. For those of you listening on Thursday, tie game, and it's like, yeah, okay, well, so this isn't going to last long, and then immediately, at 15 minutes, blew up. It's at a point that it doesn't even make sense. You should be able to at least just squeak through a couple games. But to go 1-5, I believe only one of the games was a blowout, and that was the storm from hell that they endured game 1. I'm just kind of like I don't know what the answer is. Like there's no like clear cut like, okay, how do they fix this right now? We spent a lot of time talking about the bullpen last week, and dare I say it, it's gotten worse. At least like it's not like these huge like come from behind victory or losses that they're giving up. It's just like a complete futility. Like there is no like bottom of the eighth and they're trying to close the door. It's just like, no, we're not even getting to the eighth. Sorry. It's already going to get out of hand.
Yeah, like you said, we talked about the bullpen a lot last week, but really it's hard to focus on anything else when there's just plumes of smoke coming out from under the hood of this bullpen. So it's been a tough week for sure. We saw Yohan Duran not have his best outing, obviously, in Game 2 against the Braves. Before that, he had been saddled with a couple losses, or at least runs scored against him that weren't necessarily his fault. His stuff was still looking good against the Cardinals. He got 2 strikeouts and 3 ground balls, and they still, couldn't find a way to clean it up for him. But Greg, while we're on the subject, which of the kind of scuffling relievers would you have the most faith that they could turn things around? We've seen Alcala just be, obliterated the past couple of weeks here. Thielbar obviously has had a super up and down season. The rest of them, I don't know. Who do you think you'd have the most faith in kind of turning it around and being a key contributor in September?
I mean,
and hopefully
do you include Yohan Duran as shuffling? No. Do I need to go somewhere below then?
That's up to you.
I mean, I don't have a ton of like confidence in Yohan Duran being what he was previous 2 seasons. But I do feel like he is going to be he can rebound. Okay. I don't even know what dialect you used to end up with pronouncing it like that. But I have faith that he rebounds to be like at least a very good reliever. In terms of the guys who are skidding, so Okert is gone. Trevor Richards is gone. So you're looking at Thielbar, you're looking at Alcala. Honestly, weirdly, like now those are like the 2 guys who have been like who are still on the team and are not looking great or are skidding. I don't know, man. It's hard to believe in any reliever who's struggling at the age Caleb Thielbar is. So I guess my default answer would be Alcala, but he also is just, I mean, even before these kind of blow-ups that have resulted in losses, he was not looking like he was earlier in the year. I don't know if he's overworked or what's going on there, but I don't know. I see him bouncing back, but I'd prefer him to not have to do that and try to be the 3rd best reliever in this bullpen.
Let's move over to Nick here. Nick, what do you think? Do you feel free to continue with the bullpen conversation? Otherwise, what are some other takeaways that maybe you've seen from the last couple series?
Yeah, I mean, the bullpen was horrible, right? And I mean, you look at the amount of attrition that's happened over the course of the season with that unit. I mean, everyone they acquired has now been DFA'd except for Topa, who never pitched. Stewart down for the year. Daniel Duarte, remember that guy? Everyone was so excited about him at the year. He was in the opening day bullpen. When Tommy John surgery right off the bat. It's like hard to even remember all the setbacks that they've had in that unit over the course of the year.
Remember Ryan Jensen?
Remember Michael? Oh my God, he's back. But I think the other thing that stands out to me in the negatives of this last stretch of games is just the sloppiness, the misplays, the bad decisions from everyone. I mean, players, coaches. I love Rocco. I think he's made a lot of bad decisions lately. Tommy Watkins obviously has had a horrible series against Atlanta. Manuel Margot can't catch the ball. Edouard Julien can't throw the ball. Austin Martin can't get to the ball. This team is stretched out. Guys are kind of being pushed beyond their limits, but watching players just bumble around and make horrible plays in crunch time with the season on the line it's very hard to watch. And it's been very gut wrenching, as a fan who's believed in this team all the way along, but they really do just seem like they're kind of on the skids and running out of gas. I know it's kind of been oversaid, but I mean, that's really what we're seeing before our eyes, right?
Sure. Like you said, a lot of just mental mistakes. And I talk a lot about intangibles, the things that, don't necessarily show up on a scorecard. Stuff like the in game 3 against Atlanta, when Manny Margot gets thrown out at home because he wasn't chugging all the way. Ryan Jeffers on that very same play, not making it to second when the throw goes home. These are things that don't show up on the scorecard necessarily, but have major impacts on the game. And so we're seeing a lot of that kind of stuff right now. You can make the argument that, it's a long season. They're really tired in August. Every team is really tired in August. Every team is running on fumes. It's really discouraging to see. It's really crazy that after these last, they've lost 11 of 13, something like that, 10 of 12. They've only lost one game in the standings or something like that. So I'm not saying they're trying to scuffle right now, but they sure picked a good time to do it. So, Cody, how about you? Anything that we haven't covered or anything else that you noticed the last couple series?
Oh, yeah. I just want to touch on the infield and like their offensive production too. It's really been slumping lately. And like to kind of further emphasize that word, Royce Lewis definitely does do slumps. I mean, he's been struggling pretty significantly lately, but that's fine. I mean, it's baseball. It's nice to actually have him in the lineup for a extended stretch. So like that's kind of the silver lining of it is like he's finally healthy long enough to where we can see him slump. But nevertheless, he is slumping and it's coming at a pretty inopportune time. Also, Jose Miranda hasn't really been the same. Willie Castro is struggling too. I know he's hurt. I think he has the back issue, correct? Like since the All-Star break, he's been struggling with that kind of. So that plays into it. Julian has been hitting well, but he's hitting mostly singles, and it's not the same production as last year. Santana is Santana. You're gonna get what you get with him. But overall, I mean, the infield offensive production has been concerning. It would be nice, idealistically to have Correa back, but that's just kind of not in the cards right now. I am impressed with, how Larnach has played lately. Offensively, Wallner has been pretty good still. They're doing well. So the corner outfield has been productive overall. But yeah, to pile on everything else, there is some slight concern with how, players like Lewis, Miranda, and Castro have performed at the plate recently for sure.
Yeah, I hate to sound like a broken record. We hear countless people say this, but I'm so curious what this stretch looks like with a even somewhat healthy Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa. You see the game the other night when Austin Martin, I think, went 0 for 3 and left 5 or 6 guys on base. He was playing center field, didn't quite make a catch at the wall that scored a run or two. Maybe Byron Buxton makes that catch. Maybe, his spot in the lineup moves everything down. It's a shame that we can't see them, and hopefully their condition is improving to the point that we can see them by the end of the year, and hopefully as key contributors into the playoffs. But gosh, it's been so tricky that nobody else can kind of step up into their place right now. Anything else that we want to talk about? Any positives? I mean, we're doom and gloom right now. It's really hard to come up with positives. I'll give them that. But has anybody been like, oh man, he's been clutch. He's been really good. I'll start out with one. Okay, you go ahead.
Let's talk about David Festa and Zebby Matthews, right? I mean, they both look fantastic in their most recent starts. That's a great long-term kind of development. Watching David Festa tonight on Wednesday as we speak, pitch into the 7th inning, reaching a new heights in that regard. He looked fantastic. I know I was looking at Festa as a guy that maybe would be better suited for a bullpen role here later this season. I think that's something, Lou, you wrote about on Twins Daily. But I mean, if he can churn through lineups a few times like we saw tonight with that dominant stuff playing over and over again, then I don't think he would want to do that.
Yeah, no, it's hard to make that argument after he had one of the better starts that we've seen from this rotation in the last few weeks. I still think that he could be a key member of that bullpen down the road, but I want to see him make a handful more starts. But he's coming up on his. I don't think they have like a hard set innings limit, but it's got to be in the back of their heads, Yeah. So that's right. That's been a good positive. Another one that I'm going to throw out there is it's so fun watching Carlos Santana play defense at first base. We've seen him make some awesome plays. I think he's up to 13 outs above average right now, which is leading baseball at first base by a pretty wide margin. So love seeing him and his contributions that he's made with the glove. Greg and Cody, any other positives, or should we move on?
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of like a little bit of a backhanded positive because I want to say that we're watching them, outside of the starting pitching has been looking nice. They've been keeping the team in games with the exception of that Ober blow up. which, you know what, like, I don't know. It's hard for me to really get upset. I know that both teams were playing in the same conditions, but that game never should have started on, what was that, Monday night? We're kind of at a confluence right now of them playing both bad baseball and playing poorly, in a way that's just really difficult to win games. Like, not only are they struggling to put things together, but they're also just not playing good baseball. And so you're not cutting yourself any favors. Even if the other team is playing poorly, you're also shooting yourself in the foot. So a close game is now a game you can't get back into. It's really frustrating. And, you know, we've seen, especially over this last series, actually a fair amount of offense, just no action whatsoever with runners in scoring position. I think we had this conversation a few weeks ago when Matt Trueblood was on the show, and, you know, like, would you rather have your team just like not put up any fight, or constantly, you know, go like 0 for 10 with guys in scoring position? Probably 0 for 10 with guys in scoring position, because at least you're doing like the first part. You've got to execute, come through on the other end. And so, like, I don't know, like, obviously you're never going to be playing as badly as it looks during these times. Like, there's definitely a way out of this just horrendous stretch of games. And like you mentioned, Lou, like, the Twins are 3.5 games back still on the division. Like, after all of this, it's not like they just plummeted to 10 games back in the last 30 days. Now, that's because the Guardians have been playing awful. They've still got room behind them before the Red Sox catch them. And like, those other teams are not going to play this bad for the rest of the season. And just because you're within striking distance, that doesn't necessarily mean like you're going to be able to strike. But a lot of times having a stretch like this does put you out of contention this late in the season, or moves you away from where you're trying more to just keep that last wild card spot, as opposed to trying to catch the team ahead of you. So, you know, they are still somehow, some way in a decent position to make a run for this in the last month of games. There's still 30 games left in the season. And it doesn't make any sense why they are still in this position, but they are. And if they can take advantage of that, like, none of this matters, I guess, to an extent. Like, what has happened, I mean, obviously past performance is predictive of future performance, but like, you're still just 3.5 games back. If you can pull your stuff together, okay, maybe something happens still.
Yep. And just real quick, you brought up Bailey Ober at the beginning of that little rant you went on. I blame that start on the fact that he was 4 to 5 inches closer to the storm cell that was above him, just with how tall he is. I think once you get to 6'9" and above, the pressure changes. And so that's what I'm blaming that start on. Cody, any other thoughts that you had here?
Yeah, to Greg's final point, I mean, this team has proven to be very streaky, you know, at both ends of the spectrum too. So, you know, they could pretty easily fire off like a 5-game win streak here out of nowhere. But one last point to Nick's earlier mention of Festa. I think what's really kind of interesting is how Festa will go. This is just kind of anecdotal from what I've noticed. I don't know if the numbers back it up, but he'll have a really good start and then follow it up by like 3 or 4 innings pitched, and then come back and throw a good start again, and then follow it up with another struggle start. So like it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of pile some good starts together here to finish the season. Like maybe a little bit less streakiness, maybe just like another solid 5 or 6 innings. So just to mention a earlier point, I am pretty interested to see how Festa finishes the season in the rotation.
Nice, very well said.
Oh, sorry, I have a question to throw out really quick.
Let's hear it.
Did we see that our friend Chris Paddock has been cleared to throw again? I believe he was throwing from 60 feet today off the mound, not off the mound. He was not on the mound, which is different than throwing off the mound. Think about that for a second. The English language is amazing. What do we feel about old friend, or our dearly beloved Chris Paddock potentially making a return.
I personally don't have faith that even if he returns in a relief role, it'll be the same as last year. Really, he pitched like 3 innings in relief last year, and I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, he looks really good and he looks awesome." And you know what? He did show some decent stuff in the playoffs. I don't have faith that he can do it this year. I don't think that it's in the cards. What do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah, I don't expect him to come back either way. So
you know what, Greg? Thanks for nothing.
Listen, I just wanted to throw it out. We got to cover everything on this show.
We do.
People are defending on it.
Exactly. But with that said, let's move on to our big inning talking point, which is it's time for Mailbag with Twins Off Daily Pod. Please don't sue us, John.
You're gonna get a lawsuit over here.
Yeah, I know, right?
This is very
okay. You know what? They get that for subtweeting me live on the podcast on Monday. I mean, come on. This is what they get.
I mean, they could have been talking about a number of people. Your bit's not that unique, Greg. I'm sorry to say.
Please.
Stop
we know. We know. Okay, but let's move on to mailbag. We got a couple of questions, a small handful. Greg, do you want to shoot us off with the first one here?
Yeah. Okay. So we've got a question from Heat Miser, who has the best walk-up song. Now, I'm not really in the ballpark very often, so I'm not really sure who has what, but
there's a few that I really appreciate that I really like. I like when Max Kepler walks up to Mac Miller, Nike's on my feet. I think that's a fun one. I also like Matt Wallner coming up to Chris Stapleton Whitehorse. That's been pretty cool, especially when he's hitting as well as he is. Maybe if he was scuffling, it wouldn't sound as cool, but I've liked that so far. Do you guys have any other thoughts here?
I've always enjoyed Buxton with Return of the Mac. You know, it'll be especially sweet if he's able to return at any point here and and smack some balls.
There we go. Trevor Larnick has really good taste in music. He's got a couple that I think Nothing But a G thing he walks up to, which is pretty baller. I gotta admit. Cody, sorry I interrupted you.
Does Joe Ryan's Fire on the Mountain count as a walk-up song since he's a pitcher? Does that?
Yeah. I don't think he's been walking up to he hasn't been pitching lately, but I don't know if he walked up to that this year, but I loved when he did that last year. Yeah. I think he's been coming up to Cashmere by Led Zeppelin, which is also cool. Pretty cool. Yeah.
That was cool when he did it. I mean, he's a deadhead. I mean, Rocco is a deadhead, so that's pretty cool. I think Cole Sands does Darude Sandstorm.
Yes.
So that's that's kind of a core meme right there. So that's pretty cool.
Of course, we got to bring up Duran's entrance. Really cool. And Griffin Jax, X gonna give it to you. I love that. I almost like that more than Duran's, honestly. Without the light show, I think I like Jax's entrance maybe a little bit more.
Is it time to nix the Duran walk-up music here while he's struggling? Has this already been a Greg's gripe? I mean, I haven't listened to every episode, so I don't know. It seems like it would be.
I mean,
Greg?
This is a tough one because, like, as a rule, I feel like nobody should have a song like with you can have a walk-up song, but I don't like. I as a rule, I just don't really like the whole turn off the lights and whatnot. But if we are going to do that, I think that you should do that for your players. I think that should be their thing. And listen, I don't want to unpack the box of taking away a man's like stadium stopping light show. Like, I feel like that is one of those things that, like, once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you can't put it back in. Like I've wondered, because these aren't like super old. Like, it's a fairly recent practice to be doing these like show stopping entrance things. And I'm like, okay, like, so like 6 years into a man's career, if he's still with the same team, and you know how relievers burn out, like, what is the process of like weaning them off of their light show as they become maybe more of a 7th inning guy than a 9th inning guy? But yeah, I do not want to deal with like having the conversation with your flame throwing closer that, hey buddy, we're actually going to be taking away this stuff because you're so bad.
Could you imagine Rocco calling him into the clubhouse after the game? Sorry, man. The music is gone. Your ERA went over 4.
Ooh, that's the line.
It's like a clause in their contract, like, hey, you can't show up 20 pounds overweight. For every 10 pounds you lose, you get a bonus $50,000. Like, sorry, buddy, if your ERA goes above 4, you don't get you don't even get a walkout song. You got to get that thing back below 3-2 if you want us to turn the lights off.
I remember Jorge Lopez used to walk out to sicko mode by Travis Scott, and he had like his own little display too. And they didn't take that away until he was traded to Miami. So maybe that's the threshold.
It's a good song. So maybe they're just like, no, we like the song. We're going to keep going.
Yeah.
Okay. How about the next question? What do we got, Greg?
Yeah. So this one's from GB Soccer 6. Ask Nick when is his apology to the Kansas City Royals? When, Nick? When?
I don't know exactly what this is in reference to. I assume I said at some point that I don't believe in the Royals, which nobody did.
They're real. I mean,
they have been surprisingly. That team is fake. That
team back there is not real.
They're not back there anymore. But I mean, look, the Royals are better than expected. Seth Lugo's ability to maintain what he's done has been super impressive. Bobby Witt is unreal. He's just an unreal player. But the Royals are not a better team than the Twins. Like overall, they are right now because the Royals have been unbelievably healthy. Have they had one significant injury on their team? They certainly don't have their entire team. All their best players wiped out like the Twins have. What they've done to the Guardians is impressive. I'm not apologizing to the Guardians. I'll tell you that much. But I will give a tip of the cap to the Royals. They're playing good ball.
Sounds good. I think that's fair. What's next, Greg?
Next question. This is from John Bonus. Hey guys, can I borrow your Lamborghini? No, John. Sorry. I'll take that one. This one is from Josiah Waldner. Your favorite condiment to put on a sandwich? Now, this I feel like is a question that we've answered before in our only other mailbag, but I don't remember what my answer was.
Depends what kind of sandwich, I guess. But at Target Field in the Legends Club, they do have a sandwich stand, like a deli sandwich kind of vibe, with a killer turkey sandwich that they put like a pesto aioli on. That's what I'm going to go with.
I'll say honey mustard. Honey mustard is an underrated sandwich condiment. Yeah.
I'll go mayo. I'll be that guy. Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
Jan.
I mean, I'm gonna make it worse. I enjoy mixing ranch and barbecue sauce.
Oh goodness, Greg.
That sounds good, actually. Yeah.
Not good barbecue sauce, obviously. Like we're talking like Sweet Baby Ray's.
Whoa! What's wrong with the Sweet Baby Ray's?
Put some respect.
I mean, that's like
I get where he's coming from, right? Yeah,
it's like the generic barbecue sauce you get at the store. I would never mix good barbecue sauce with that.
Josiah, you are tearing us apart with this question. Yeah, we are going our separate ways after this episode. I got a question. Sorry, Greg, did you have any more there?
No, I think that's all that I've got.
Okay. I got a question from a T. Watkins. It says, I work in logistics, sending coworkers from station to station. I'm feeling less than confident about my ability and my decision-making lately. How can I improve my performance? Any advice for Mr. T. Watkins?
I mean,
it's got to be more decisive, I guess, right?
Yeah, be decisive.
Stop listening so much to The Clash. Should I stay or should I go?
Okay, that's some good advice.
Yeah, maybe take into account your players' knees, like how are their knees looking, in certain times. Or people, coworkers. Yeah, Freudian slip. Sorry. Yeah.
I will tell you this. I was once told by a finalist on Survivor that when you have to make a decision, there are 3 things you can do. The best thing to do is the right thing. The second best thing to do is the wrong thing. And the third best thing to do is nothing. So make a decision and stick to it, even if it's the wrong one.
That's some sage wisdom from a contestant on Survivor. That's
Finalist on Survivor.
A finalist. Goodness.
Yes.
Not good enough to win though. But you know,
she got voted off. You know, that's what happens. You know, you've got to take you get to the finals and then you got to kick off the best player because you know you don't want to have to try and compete against them.
Heard that. Well, that was a good addition to the mailbag here, but let's move on to our next segment, which is Picks to Click. Okay, so we all know how Picks to Click works. We pick a given category, and then we track it between today and the next episode. For example, our question last episode was, which upcoming opposing starting pitcher will the Twins lineup generate the most runs against between now and the next episode? So who are they going to beat up the most out of the opposing starting pitchers? Matt Braun picked Eric Fetty. Fetty went 6 innings, giving up just 1 earned run. Cody, you picked Max Fried. He similar line. He pitched 5 innings, gave up 1 earned run. Greg picked Chris Sale, who pitched, stop me if you've heard this, 6 innings, 1 earned run. I was victorious this episode. I said that Sonny Gray was going to have the worst start. Should have pulled him earlier because he pitched 6 innings, gave up 5 earned runs. But I will take that to the bank, and that pulls us into a 3-way tie between Greg, Lou, and the field in our all-time standings. In the field, Matt Trueblood, Peter Labuza, Sherry, Matt Braun, and Theo Tollefson and Adam Friedman all got 1 correct. Nick Nelson still looking for his first. Melissa Berman still with 0, and this can't be right. Cody Schoenman still with 0. Unbelievable, Cody. But, you know, I got faith in you for this next round. What do you have to say for yourself?
I think you are lying. I think you're lying, and I don't believe you.
I mean, Picks to Click numbers are just another analytic.
Yeah.
By the eye test, I'm pretty sure you're out ahead of us.
What is this, like, FIP? Like, this is made up. This isn't.
All right.
His expected Picks to Click is way higher.
Ooh, there we go. Now we're talking. Okay, so our new picks that we're going to track between now and our next episode, which is all the way on September 12th. Wow. We are going to track, this is timely now, which Twins reliever will give up the most earned runs between now and the next episode. Why don't we start with Nick here? You get the first pick, my friend. Who do you think will have the most earned runs out of the Twins relief corps?
Well, it's kind of a horrifying combination of things that you're asking here because you just said that they have so long until their next off day and their bullpen is already so thinned out that it's probably going to be a very high number, whoever it is. You know what? I'm unfortunately going to go with Jorge Alcala. My faith in Alcala has waned a lot. I don't have a lot of confidence in him when he's on the mound right now. Seems like he's kind of burning out, but they're going to have to keep going to him because he's still one of their 4 best relievers, for better or worse. So, unfortunately, Jorge is going to be my guy.
Okay, Cody, what do we think?
Yeah, that sounds really hard. I will go with Caleb Thielbar. I think he'll get a decent amount of opportunities, and yeah, I just don't really have much faith in him, so I will go with Thielbar.
Okay, that's probably a good pick. Like you said, plenty of opportunities since he's the only lefty in the pen right now. Greg, what do you think?
Comes back.
Oh, Funderbeck.
And my guy, Brent Hedrick. my minor leaguer to watch from episode 1, who has not thrown a single pitch since that episode.
And my guy, Giovanni Moran.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see him. But Greg, are you actually
Hedrick he's rehabbing. He might be here by the time we next meet. I don't know what has to go wrong to have that happen. I don't know. This is a hard one because it's got to be like the right balance of not being very good and also getting a lot of opportunities. I almost want to say I'm going to go with Ronnie Henriquez. I just feel like he's going to get some mop-up opportunities and maybe not do great with them.
Very interesting. That's a good pick. Yeah, you guys 3 pretty key candidates there. I'm going to go with Michael Tonkin, who is coming, like we said, the Twins claimed him, and he will be making his second stint with the Twins this year, his 3rd overall. I think that he might struggle, and if he does, I don't think that they're going to have the guts to cut him again. And I don't know what sort of options they would have. So I'm going to go with Michael Tonkin, who will be with the club shortly here.
Well, that's very uplifting and fun to think about here as we look to this next stretch of games. Is all these relievers that are going to absolutely collapse.
Yes, good. But you know what? We kept Duran, we kept Jax, we kept Sands out of there. So hopefully we're right on those. And we didn't curse any of them. Okay, let's go for a really, really quick edition of everybody's favorite segment, Gregory's Gripes. Okay, so you can always count on Greg to have something grinding his gears. This is his therapy session to get it all off his chest. Greg, give us a quick gripe.
I hate umbrellas and I hate ponchos. Like, why can't you just walk in the rain? Why can't you sit in the rain? Like, if you're wearing a poncho at like a rainy baseball game, you're not earning it. Like, you are cheating the system. I don't like it. Like, why are you like, if you have to walk from like your building to the parking garage and it's like raining, why do you have to carry a little utensil to keep yourself dry? Like, what's wrong with being wet? Being a little damp? I mean, like, I don't know. I have like moderately long hair. I love getting it like slightly damp and like flicking it, like thinking about smoking a cigarette, you know, like I just stop wearing ponchos, stop using umbrellas, feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in.
I feel like this was all leading up to just that punchline there. And you know what? I'm glad.
No, that was actually that punchline just kind of came to me. I have impeccable comedic timing and instinct.
Sure you do. Sure you do. Soggy Greg over here. That's going to be Sweet Lou and Soggy Greg. Perfect. Well, Greg, thanks for doing that. Listeners, if you have any gripes that you'd like to get off your chest, for example, how off the rails this segment has gotten throughout the year, please tweet us at TwinsOffDaily or at Greg T. Masterson, and we'll let you release some steam. But for now, let's move on to...
Oh, you know what? Actually, now that you say it, off the rails, you know what else I can't stand? The trolley problem. It's overplayed. Stop doing the trolley problem. Anyway.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you for doing that.
If 5 Twins relievers were tied to a train track and Griffin Jax was on the other train track, never mind.
Never mind.
Listen, maybe I'm going to have to hear you out about this one.
All right. How about this? Let's move on to the next segment, which is the closer. Okay, so with this segment, which is our weekly rotation of lighthearted games to end the show, we're going to do another Immaculate Gregg. Greg, I'll give you the floor and you can kind of explain the segment here.
All right, so we're doing Immaculate Gregg. It is a play on the ever so popular Immaculate Grid. What we've got here, especially if you are on the video audience, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the grid in front of you. We've got a 2x2 grid where we are going to find twins who fall into 4 different categories. We will do a quick snake draft. We'll go around the room and build our own Immaculate Grids, or Immaculate Greggs. I apologize. Please don't sue me, baseball reference. I'm protected under parody law, I swear. So without further ado, we're going to do a snake draft. I've got a number between 1 and 10. Everybody on the count of 3, give me your guess. 1, 2, 3.
10.
9. Oh, 2.
All right, the number was 1.
Wow.
So literally as far away from Lou and Nick as possible.
We got great instincts.
How about this? This? Just for ease of access here, do we want to start with Greg and then we'll just go visually down the line and then back up?
Yes, let's do that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will take the first draft. You can choose any square that you want, but you need to fill in all 4 squares. So do that in whatever order you'd prefer. Okay, so the categories are won it for someone else. So won a World Series before or after coming to Minnesota. Middle relief. which is just a middle reliever who played for the Twins. Along the left side, we have Atlanta Braves. So any Atlanta Brave or anybody in this category has to play for both the Twins and the Braves at some point in their career. And the final category is Terry did it. So this is somebody who was acquired by Terry Ryan. So through the grid, our top left category is won it for someone else. So won a World Series, not in Minnesota, and played for the Braves. Our top right category is middle reliever who played for both the Twins and Braves. Bottom left, won a World Series in Minnesota and was acquired by Terry Ryan. And bottom right, a middle reliever who was acquired by Terry Ryan. That one will be a fun one. Just let's remember some guys. I am going to choose my top right, the middle reliever who played for the Twins and the Braves. I'm going to go with R.A. Dickey, future Cy Young winner who played for both the Twins and the Braves. And if you remember, he was a middle reliever during his 1 year with the Twins. So my pick is R.A. Dickey. You may not duplicate picks. Please keep a note so that at the end you can tell the audience what your grid ended up being. But I'm starting top right, R.A. Dickey. Nick.
Cool. I can pick anything. All right. I'm going to go top left. I'm going to take a player who played for the Braves and Twins and won it for someone else. And I'm going to go with good old Eddie Rosario.
There he is.
There we go. Cody.
Postseason hero, Eddie Rosario. And now I believe unemployed.
Unemployed yet again this year.
Yeah, he's been cut a few times.
Okay. So I'll do Terry did it and won it for someone else, bottom left corner. And did you guys know that Francisco Liriano won a World Series? I definitely knew that before this episode.
2017 with the Astros. Our old boy Frankie finally got it.
If he wouldn't have gotten hurt in 2006, he would have done it here.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. Of
It
course.
was destined.
Hanging in the rafters. I'm going to go with the bottom right, which is a middle reliever who was acquired by Terry Ryan. I am going to go with I would say, top 3 favorite Twin of all time. I'm going to go with Mr. Pat Neshek, the side slinger, baby.
Love it. You've got another one, Lou.
Oh, yes. Look at that. I keep forgetting that. Why don't I go with top right, which is middle reliever who played for the Twins and the Braves. I'm going to go with Senior Smoke, Juan Berenger. He, I believe, was a middle reliever, right? He didn't have much closing duties. And he is the namesake of Senior Smokes at Target Field, which many know as the incident with Greg. But I'll let him talk about that some other time. Cody, back to you, my friend.
About the incident.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go with middle reliever who played for the Twins and Braves. And let's go with Michael Tonkin.
Who?
Okay.
Wow. Very relevant. Very, yes.
Good pick.
Nick.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to take the bottom left, Greg Cube. And it's going to be won it for someone else. And Terry did it. And it's going to be the ultimate Terry did it guy in all the worst negative connotations. I'm going to go with David Ortiz. He did that.
He did do that. And unfortunately, it's become permanently embedded in Twins fans' brains. And we will never be able to watch a single guy leave this team and have a modicum of success again. Speaking of guys, maybe first baseman who left the Twins for the 2004 Red Sox and then won a World Series, I'm going to go with Dougie Baseball, Doug Minkiewicz, for my won it for someone else and Terry did it. So my bottom left there. People forget that. Did he ever give back the baseball? I don't know.
That's kind of fun because the Twins, Terry did it. He moved on from David Ortiz in part to open the door for Doug Minkiewicz, right? Who eventually went to the Boston Red Sox like Ortiz and won a World Series. So there's some great continuity there in the Gregg squares.
If only Matt LeCroy would have also pulled off that same maneuver.
Not
All
quite.
of Terry's plans would have gone up in flames.
There's also an interesting thing with Terry and Doug, where Terry did not do it. Terry did not hire Doug as the manager when Doug went up to his office. I remember I heard that story on, I think it was Locked On Twins, if you guys know what I'm talking about.
No.
I don't
Oh, yeah,
know.
like,
He went up to Terry's door and like
he said, hire me.
So
Yeah,
like
so he was-
how like people of my age would just walk into the CEO of Microsoft and hand him your resume. He'll like your gumption and he'll give you a job.
Give him a firm handshake and stare him right in the eyes.
And Doug just did that. He just took the elevator up to the.
All right, let's get back on the rails.
never
Back
mind.
to the game.
Sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna go. Won it for someone else and was a Brave. I'm gonna go with our old friend Dallas Keuchel.
Okay, all right.
Nick.
Twins legend. Oh, you already did it too? Okay.
Yeah.
For middle reliever who played for the Twins and Braves, let's go with Matt the Wiz Whistler.
Oh, yes.
Good pick. Cody.
Okay. I hope this qualifies, but middle reliever who was acquired by Terry Ryan, I'll go with John Rauch.
Was he?
I think that was Bill Smith.
Yeah,
Oh.
that was what, 2010?
Yeah, 2009.
Yeah, 2009. That
Yeah.
Jumbo John was a Bill Smith guy, but I like where your head is at, Cody.
Okay.
It's tough there with the window in the Terry Ryan era, right? You got a few years where it's just off limits.
Okay. Kevin Jepsen, he counts, right?
Let's count it.
Kevin Jepsen.
Gangsta's Paradise. Speaking of walkout music. Okay, so that brings it to me for my last two, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, I am going to go with the bottom left. Won a World Series, not in Minnesota, and was acquired by Terry Ryan. I'm going to go with one of the fattest, sweatiest pitchers that has ever graced a Twins uniform, and that is Jose Mijares, who was signed by the Twins in 2002, and he won a World Series with the San Francisco Giants in 2012. Jose Mijares, big, sweaty, fat guy. Love it. And with my last pick, you guys can tell me if this is allowed or not, but for someone who won a World Series, not in Minnesota, and played for the Braves, I'm going to go with Anibal Sanchez. He never made an actual appearance in a regular season or postseason game with the Twins. They signed him in spring training in 2019, then cut him. He had a great year with the Washington Nationals and won the World Series with them that year. So what do we think? Do we allow Anibal Sanchez or do I have to go with my backup?
I think we got to allow
I think so. At some point, I want one of the categories here to be never played for the Twins. And so it's like a collection of guys like that, like Joel Zumaya.
There we go.
I'm always nervous that we won't be able to come up with enough names, though.
Okay, I'm sticking with it. Anibal Sanchez. My backup was Ehire, Adrianza, but let's go with Anibal Sanchez. So just real quick, top left, I had Anibal Sanchez. Top right, I had Juan Berenguer. Bottom left, I had Jose Mijares. And bottom right, I had Pat Neshek.
Perfect.
Very nice.
Cody.
Very nice. Is that back to Cody then for his final pick?
Cody.
Yeah. Top left, won a World Series, not in Minnesota, and played for the Braves. AJ Pierzynski.
Ooh,
Okay.
that's a good one.
You want to give a quick run through of your total grid?
Yeah, so top left, won a World Series, not Minnesota, played for the Braves. AJ Pierzynski, middle reliever who played for the Twins and Braves. Michael Tonkin, won a World Series, not in Minnesota, and was acquired by Terry Ryan. That's Francisco Liriano. And middle reliever who was acquired by Terry Ryan. I wanted John Rauch, but I got Kevin Jepsen.
Many such cases.
Many
There
such
we go.
cases, yeah.
Cool. Well, my last square to fill is any middle reliever who was acquired by Terry Ryan. And gosh, there's just such a broad spectrum of players to choose from. I'm going to go with Jared Burton. The reclamation project turned good. We could use a Jared Burton in the Twins bullpen right now. I'll tell you what.
Great trade, Falvey.
Yeah. So my picks were Eddie Rosario, who played for the Twins and Braves and won a World Series elsewhere. Matt Whistler, who pitched middle relief for the Twins and Braves. David Ortiz, the Terry did it. And of course, good old Jared Burton, Jay Burt. as the middle
Jaybird.
reliever of the Terry Ryan era.
Love it.
I've got bottom right middle reliever who was acquired by Terry Ryan. There's so many good names. My goodness. I think I'm gonna go JD, the real deal Durbin. Just because I want an excuse to say JD, the real deal Durbin. Just immaculate, giving yourself a nickname to be a mildly successful middle reliever for like a year or two. I guess.
Excellent. Good pick.
Amazing.
Is that a good pick? Because here's the deal. JD Durbin, as a Minnesota Twin, made 4 total appearances, one of which was a start, and he pitched 7 total innings, and he had a 7 ERA.
Okay, baseball reference.
Oh, no, I have these stats in my head, buddy. So I don't know. Can you call him a middle reliever when he appeared like less than a handful of times and probably mopped up more than anything?
If you want me to name more middle relievers acquired by Terry Ryan, I'm going to go. I think my posted pick is going to be Boof Bonzer, who was a middle reliever toward the end of his Twins career, but I could have gone with somebody like Caleb Thielbar, Dennis Reyes. Very relevant right now.
Michael
Grant
Tonkin.
Balfour, Michael Tonkin, Mike Fetters. Remember Mike Fetters?
Oh yeah.
How many picks are you gonna do, Greg?
Greg Olson
Unbelievable.
with 2 G's. Anyway, so my board looks like top left. So won a World Series, not in Minnesota, and played for the Braves. That was Dallas Keuchel, middle reliever who played for the Twins and Braves. I went with R.A. Dickey. Won a World Series, not in Minnesota, and was acquired by Terry Ryan, Doug Minkiewicz, and middle reliever who was acquired by Terry Ryan. Oh, shoot, I forgot. Did I say Caleb Field? No, I said Boof Bonzer. Boof Bonzer was my pick there.
Man,
Right.
I really thought that Greg was just going to keep naming off the options and we were going to have to like fade out his audio and go through the rest of the show and like check back in with him and fade it back in. He's just still listing players off.
Hey, buddy, I'm the one who's controlling this. I can cut your mics, actually. Now that
it was going to be like the God Bless America singer at Target Field.
Yes. Perfect.
Don't make me mute you.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I just muted Nick. No more laughing, buddy.
Bingo. Nice. All right. Well, how about this? Let's move on to our post-game high fives. I'm going to go back to our walk-off question, which is what State Fair food or drink would you like to see sold at Target Field? I'm going to take the layup. I say that they should sell Sweet Martha's cookies at the ballpark. They would rake in the cash. I hope I get a cut for bringing this idea to Martha herself. And it would also be nice because it would be that much closer for me to bring cookies to my friends in the press box, which is why they let me keep coming in. So what are some other options?
Sorry, is that nepotism? Are you related to Sweet Martha, Sweet Lou?
I'm not. It's just a coincidence.
Sweet Martha Hennessy.
Sweet Martha Hennessy. Yeah.
Next, you're going to try and tell me that Andrew Jones and Chipper Jones weren't brothers.
All right. Cody, I know that you aren't necessarily a fair goer, but what sort of State Fair food would you like to buy at Target Field?
Yeah. So there's a thing called mini apple pie and ice cream. Those are pretty good. I had that at a fair in Rochester, so I actually know what that is like. I'll add that. That's pretty good. So I will add that to the Target Field menu.
Yeah, man, I'd pay too much money for that for sure. Nick, what do you got?
I'm gonna throw out a little bit of a new concoction here, incorporating a State Fair food. How about a Pronto Pup hot dog? Now I know that the Pronto Pup is supposed to sort of the outer shell is supposed to emulate the hot dog bun, but we're talking about putting it in a hot dog bun here. Mega carb load, baseball heaven. Let's go.
Okay, sorry. I keep seeing stuff about this Pronto. What is the Pronto dog?
Pronto
Pup, first of all. It's like a corn dog, but I think it uses like not cornmeal. It uses some different
flour.
Batter. Yeah.
Yep.
It's very good.
Yeah, really good. I love that idea, and I would absolutely pay too much money for that. Greg, what do we think? I know that are you like Werther's Originals or something? I don't think they sell those at the fair.
So I've never been to the Minnesota State Fair. So I have 2 questions. I'm just going to guess. Does anywhere at the fair sell deep fried macaroni and cheese?
They have in the
Probably.
past.
Okay. Does Target Field sell deep fried macaroni and cheese?
Unless it's one of the, kind of accoutrement that goes on top of one of the Bloody Marys at Herbeck's, I don't think they do. So that would be an excellent option.
Okay, then my
Actual
pick.
chicken, Twins Daily sponsor. You can get mac and cheese and fried chicken, so that's pretty close.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent fried chicken. Love their fried chicken.
No free ads.
No free ads. Yeah.
No ads whatsoever. No one's paying us, so we might as well just throw them out there for free.
We're paying to do this.
Yeah. For real.
This is coming out of our pockets. Okay, well, good. I think we had some good selections here. Before we take off, let's take a quick look ahead at the Twins' schedule. They get a 3-game set against the Toronto Blue Jays. Then they head to Tampa Bay for a 4-game series. Then to Kansas City. That's going to be a crucial 3-game series. Then they're back home for 3 against the Los Angeles Angels before their next off day, which will be our next episode on September 12th. But until then, hoping for some more success and hopefully a steadier bullpen. But until then, thank you for joining us and stay sweet, everybody.